The internet is currently in full-blown panic mode after frightening rumors surfaced, suggesting that the person you trusted the most was hiding a child with someone you couldn't stand. What if the thing you've been ignoring turns out to be true? According to tests, Mendeecees is the father of Erica Mina's youngest child. If that wasn't enough, there are rumors that Yandy Smith lost all control after learning of the situation and attacked Erica in private. Behind the scenes, social media is ablaze, with alleged eyewitnesses, smuggled voice notes, and blurry photos that fans think tell the entire story. Emotions are running high, the fan base is divided, and the controversy is escalating into a situation from which the love and hip-hop brand might never fully recover. How did it get to this point? Are the NA rumors true? What truly transpired? Between Yandy and Erica has everyone buzzing, so grab some popcorn because we're about to break record every bizarre turn in this building drama. And trust us when we say that. Under the dim lighting of the backstage area, gasps were heard as one of the staff members, who appeared anxious, hurried out of a private door just seconds after a heated argument had been brewing. Between Yum Smith and Erica Mina, two women who had a long history of conflict and unresolved hostility, the tension had finally reached a level that no one on the scene could have predicted when the alleged results of a near test surfaced online was no longer just a dispute. According to several in attendance, it became physically tumultuous and completely unforgettable. The disagreement reportedly began earlier that morning, when a website known for disseminating celebrity rumors disclosed what it claimed to be supper tests. Records linking Mendeecees to Erica Mina's infant photos went viral in a matter of hours, and social media was a blaze of speculation as followers tagged Yandy, Erica, and even guys in post after post in search of clarification. Some were shocked, while others claimed to have anticipated it. The most astounding part, according to sources, wasn't even the dinner results themselves, but rather Yandy's apparent reaction. When Yandy first saw the messages, she didn't believe them and seemed to write them off as just another online scam, but suddenly altered after filmmakers allegedly showed her behind-the-scenes footage that, according to reports, appeared to show men sneaking off set numerous times during filming to have secret meetings with Erica. Yandy's hands started to shake as soon as. When she first saw it, she remained silent and simply stared at the television with her lips pursed tightly and her eyes frozen in disbelief. Within minutes, she was leaving her seat and heading straight for Erica's dressing area, according to multiple staff members who claim Yandy hurried in without. According to an assistant standing just outside, Yandy's voice was calm but icy, and you really couldn't wait for her. Erica was knocking, finishing up her makeup in front of the mirror, and the room felt dead silent as the door crashed against the wall. Erica looked up and reportedly smiled at first, which fueled the fire. Her tone was steady but oozing with wrath, she said. "You had years to ask questions." "I simply gave you answers," she said. Witnesses claim that Yandy abruptly rushed forward, grabbed Erica by the hair, and said, "And that's when everything burst." Both women screamed, cosmetics fell from the counter, and security came running in as the two women fell to the ground. It wasn't a catfight, rather, it was real, uncontrollable anger that had been building for months or even years. Yandy was heard screaming and wailing, saying the same things over and over again. "You destroyed everything. You ruined my family by the time they were separated." Yandy's shirt was ripped at the shoulder, and Erica's wig was halfway off. Both of them were gasping for air, and their faces were flushed with emotion. One crew member reportedly claimed to have never seen Yandy that unruly before, and during the fight, Erica reportedly sobbed after Yandy as security dragged him out of the room. The sound of her cry echoed down the hallway loudly enough for many other cast members to hear. But the real surprise came seconds later. It became clear that what had just happened wasn't just reality gold, but rather a potential legal nightmare, when a producer subtly instructed one of the interns to take all the video and lock it away. Rumors were circulating behind the scenes and panic was growing. Who knew what it was and when production learnt about it? The meal of discoveries that had previously been leaked had been personally validated by Men's in private. The rumors worsened when someone made public a purported voicemail that appeared to be from Men's to Erica, saying, "I can't let Yandy find out." The 10-second video was enough to send supporters into a frenzy, but the timing wasn't right. If he had known about the child months prior, why hadn't he said anything? How did Yandy find out? Backstage recordings and gossip blogs caused social media to explode with rumors. Some fans supported Men, saying he was likely scared, while others criticized him for being weak and dishonest. However, it was evident that no one expected Yandy to break the mold the way she reportedly did. Who had always thought of her as a sensible, controlled person was now calling her unpredictable, emotional, and even dangerous. Erica's response, however, was as beautiful. Later that night, when she went live on Instagram, her voice was composed, but she said, "I didn't want for this drama. He didn't leave me much of an option though," so she paused, looked into the camera, and stated, "I didn't throw the first punch. I did ask for the truth, and now that it's out, everyone wants to look shocked." The live stream ended as quickly as it began, but it left viewers in shock. Her comment area was flooded with both love and rage, with some praising her for standing by herself and others accusing her of stirring up trouble and tearing a family apart. As the night wore on, Mendeecees' silence grew louder. He hadn't liked, commented, or shared anything, and people started tagging him in everything, demanding a response. The more he remained silent, the worse it appeared, even to some of his own fans, began opposing him and asking for unrest as two women ripped one other apart over something he ought to have acknowledged too long ago. And behind closed doors, things were allegedly falling apart. To make matters worse, a crew worker released the text exchange allegedly between Men's. Additionally, another insider claimed that Yandy refused to film the following day, remaining alone in her trailer and spoke to no one but herself. He told the producer, "I need a day before I come back. This isn't about tea anymore." She spent the night crying, trapped between despair with her sister and stylist, according to someone close to her. However, no one was certain whether the dinner papers were real, even though everyone was reacting as though they were, and no formal statement had been issued. That's what kept the tension so high. Some fans hoped it was all a ruse to boost ratings. While others were positive, it was the final straw for Yandy and Mendeecees' already shaky relationship. However, as bizarre as it had all been, this was merely a fresh rumor that suggested males had more to confess, something even Yandy wasn't aware of yet, and something Erica had been holding on to just in case, began to circulate the very next morning. It made the NA news seem like child's play. Someone on the set claims that the case arrived the next morning, and the set appeared particularly tense, akin to the silence following a storm in which no one truly survived. The crew members walked solemnly, exchanging glances and mumbling in corners as they considered weather. Even though today's filming would go on, Yandy hadn't arrived yet. Her trailer was still locked, the shades were drawn, and there was no sign of any production calls going unanswered, either being routed to voicemail or simply ignored. And the Mendeecees weren't there either. Many people expected Erica to be hiding, but instead she showed up with her glam squad in full force, head held high, makeup flawless, and a walk that carried the air of someone who had just won a long, horrific battle that the producers weren't sure how to handle. Erica looked directly at them and said, "Either roll the cameras or I'll go live myself." That was all it took for things to shift. With the cameras running, she sat comfortably in a soft chair and the lighting was gentle. Put a gleam on her face, she looked eagerly into the camera, and her voice was composed. "What happened last night wasn't planned, but it was bound to happen," she said, adding, "I delivered this dinner report production a few days ago. If it's online now, it wasn't leaked by." Her next words hit me like a ton of bricks. The man who came to see him knew everything. The child looked into his eyes and told me that he recognized a likeness. He claimed that he couldn't sleep until he learnt the truth, and when he did, nothing prevented her voice from shaking. The production fumbled for tension as soon as the confession scene ended, and now everyone is glaring at me like I'm the villain. I pleaded with him a little to tell Yandy himself, reminding him that the longer he remained silent, the more the truth would hurt. Fans were terrified that she had completely collapsed, but she reappeared after a 24-hour period without any calls, messages, or even posts. The mood in the room was electrifying, and no one had expected such an encounter with such unvarnished honesty and directness. Swinging posted an odd video on her Instagram account that showed her moving slowly down a hallway while wearing all black with the ominous words, "Truth always comes to light." There was no voice or face. Within minutes, fan sites seized it, wondering if Yandy was going to leave Mend and file for divorce or reveal her own truth bomb. The creators realized this was their chance, so they called out both Yandy and Erica and suggested a face-to-face meeting. Sit down without interruptions, just the two of them in a room, and they expected Yandy to say no. But to their surprise, she agreed to the condition that no men would be present on the day of the shoot. Security was set up, and cameras were ready, was heightened, and every crew member understood that something major was about to happen. 10 minutes later, Erica arrived in a tight white dress, her enthusiasm controlled but clearly guarded, and they sat across from one another. Yandy arrived first, calm but unreadable. After a long silence, Erica continued, "I'm not here to yell or fight, but I need to understand why you did this the way you did." Andy's voice was calm, almost too calm, and the air between them was thick enough to puncture with a knife. "Stop. Iva had to do because he wouldn't. He left me out there with the weight of this secret while playing house. I apologize for being caught in the crossfire, but you were already in it. I simply didn't know." Yandy looks up slowly. "You might have come to me and shown me woman to woman, but instead you stepped a little closer. Considering what you believe that makes it all right, you believe going public and letting the internet eat us alive makes you a victim?" she asked. "Created a facade out of my life," and Erica's face tensed. "I tried, but you wouldn't listen, and you always trusted what he told you. I was afraid of being ignored, and I was sick of acting like it didn't matter. This wasn't just about thee. It was about how he lied to both of us women, and for a long minute there was no yelling or chaos. It was something much more raw, two women bearing the burden of betrayal from the same man." It seemed like Yandy was about to strike again when she said, This wasn't the first rumor, and to be honest, I've been suspicious for a while, but I didn't want to believe it," she said gently, looking down and her voice trembling a little. "Not the only one he's lied to. Family and my peace, but peace does not come from lies." Erica was taken aback because she had not expected that level of candor, and her face softened for the first time during the conversation. Yandy looked up at her, and her eyes were filled with a mix of power and grief. "And now I understand what healing looks like with or without him." When the scene ended, they were amazed by the footage, which was better than any reality TV drama they had ever seen. It was intense, unscripted, and genuine. The fundamental question was still unanswered. Where was Mendeecees that night? Fans were given yet another unexpected surprise when a close friend of Mendeecees, who had remained mute during the tragedy, revealed his identity live on Instagram. Dre claimed that he was, "I'm not here to pick sides," but a longtime friend from High. The early days of music, Dr. Ray started something that really shook the internet. He keeps asking where Means is, but the truth is that he has been hiding away while attempting to figure out how to clean up the wreckage he made. But let me clarify that he was aware of the baby and had informed me beforehand that he had a gut feeling he didn't want to lose his wife. Fans flocked to the comment section stating that if this body was telling the truth, Men's had voluntarily allowed both Yandy, and one fan wrote, "They were playing chess while trying to survive." Another said, "He didn't simply destroy hearts, he damaged trust back on." Erica suffered in silence as he tried to balance two versions of his existence. Site producers quickly realized they needed Mendeecees right away, and over the course of the next several episodes, the story changed from what began as a single twist to a deeply emotional unraveling of love, deceit, and public calamity. They sent out an official invitation, not a casual request, but a proper on-camera piece called Men Speaks No Cuts Soft. Lighting just him a chair and a microphone, because the audience needed his side more than ever, and the world wanted to see the guy at the center of it all eventually speak. Camera. And to everyone's surprise, his team did send a brief message to producers stating that he would be present but would not be answering questions. Instead, he was coming to discuss. That sentence alone sparked a frenzy on social media, with fans counting down the number of episodes that bloggers would be posting. Timelines of the entire tale were shared on Reddit, and body language from each episode was examined. People supported Erica, while others supported Yandy, and others even felt sorry for Threaten, calling him a flawed man caught in a maelstrom of consequences, was very quiet on the day of his recording. It felt like a day of judgment, with just one chair, one man, and one truth, or perhaps several. But before the cameras started filming, Menz called Yandy, and he said, the phone rang, and Yandy perched on the edge of her bed. Looking at the ripped screen between replying and denying, the name alone sent off a chain reaction of feelings, including anger, betrayal, sorrow, and confusion. After a few more rings, she eventually picked up, but there was a heavy silence on both ends, and no one spoke for a long time. Yandy did not respond right away. Instead, she let the silence to speak for her after a few seconds. I realize I'm the last guy you want to hear from, he said, continuing slowly, almost as if he couldn't believe she had picked up. You should have come to me as soon as you realized. Not weeks later or after the damage you were meant to protect me, she mumbled after a long time. I know he gave in, and I failed as a man and a spouse by sparing Yandy. Do you even realize what you've done to me and our children? They see the headlines and hear the rumors, and I'm driven to be selfish by my fear of losing you, and my inability to get you to admit what I did. Yandy ultimately said, this call doesn't repair everything, but maybe it's a start if you have to explain everything as you depart. His voice broke, but I didn't disappear. I was trying to find the strength to mend the notion, but perhaps it was too late. You're truly sorry. Don't just talk to me. Tell me, and I'll give it to the world. He assured everyone that there would be no lies or filters throughout the call. And just hours later, Men came on stage for his eagerly anticipated performance. Showed in wearing a black sweatshirt and trousers, devoid of any colorful or provocative attire, exhausted and battered down by the weight of everything. He sat in the chair under the camera team's bright lights, quiet and ready, and everyone knew what he was going to say might either. As the cameras rolled, I looked directly into the camera, took a deep breath, and began to say, I screwed up. There is no script here, no excuses, and I lied not just to my wife but also to someone who deserved the truth. When Erica informed me she was pregnant, I was concerned because I wasn't sure what to think, and to be honest, I didn't want to believe it because I knew how much it would cost me. Yandy and I had already experienced a lot, and the idea of sharing such a secret was unsettling. Seemed like a death sentence to all we had built. He paused before continuing, but the test results confirmed what I was too scared to believe, so I froze. I explained that I needed time to figure out how to break the news to Yandy, but the truth was that I was buying time for myself, because I didn't want to lose my life, so I kept lying to Erica. I told myself that the truth could wait, but it didn't, and when his confession poured out, fans everywhere watched in confusion since this wasn't the Mendeecees they were looking for. Yandy, if you're watching, I apologize. I don't expect forgiveness. Don't expect things to go as planned. This was a broken guy facing the consequences of his own destruction at home. We're used to seeing confidently cool and in control things the way they were, but I want you to know that I did it out of fear, not insanity. I was afraid of losing you, but now that I've lost you, dear Erica, I realize that I should apologize for not being a man from the start and for leaving you to deal with this. At the end of his statement, Men's voice was hardly audible as he looked directly into the camera one last time and said, "No more lies, no more. Alone, no child deserves to grow up in the midst of this disaster, and I will do everything it takes to be there for my child." Silence. It's time to face everything. As the crew packed up the studio, the hush was so intense that no one could predict what would happen, but they were certain that this moment would be remembered in hip-hop and love history. The show broadcast only a few days later, and the reaction was immediate. Fans' opinions and debates were divided. Some praised Men for finally confessing, while others believed it was too late. Hashtags like "Ollie Yandy provides better tea" and "Dal Mindix confession" went viral for hours. But Yandy herself surprised everyone by posting a lengthy message on Instagram the day after the show aired, saying, "Hearing him express his truth hurt more than I thought, but it also gave me a strange sense of closure rather than peace. I don't know what the future has in store for us yet, but I'm getting close to being ready to make any decisions. But I do know that my worth is independent of other people's shortcomings, and I will never let them to ruin me, Erica. Ruin me, Erica." She responded with a video of herself, crying as she sat in her car wiping. "I didn't do this to ruin people's lives. Rather, I did it because I was afraid I might have made mistakes as well. But my child didn't ask for this. All I want is peace." In one, a surprising turn of events, women who had previously been bitter rivals began following one another on Instagram once more. No words were said directly, but the gesture said a lot behind the scenes, as producers revealed that the next season would include a new type of partnership between Yandy and Erica, two women learning to live together after experiencing the same storm as men. According to DC sources, he has started private therapy and is making an effort to mend his relationship. The story may have started with terrible deceit and mayhem, but now there was a glimmering hope of something else. Responsibility, healing, and possibly even atonement, but the scars remained. Both women started by becoming fathers to the child he initially denied, were still there, and even though they apologized, trust would take a lot longer to rebuild. Farms are dependent on every update, message, and clue about what will happen next, and somewhere in the quiet aftermath, free lives keep changing as they search for, discovering what it means to go on after the truth has finally been revealed and everything has changed. The entire situation has been an emotional roller coaster, ranging from heated arguments to the revelation of Nay Test, and this tale has completely stunned the hip-hop and love communities. Devotees are still in shock at Mendeecees' shocking disclosure, Yandy's sincere and firm response, and Erica Mina's passionate plea for peace. Now that everything is out in the open, the true question is what will happen next, and whether Yandy and Mendeecees can ever be able to. With so many emotions still there and trust lingering, the story is definitely far from over. Will Erica and Yandy be able to find common ground after years of conflict and betrayal? Or is this just the calm before another storm that is about to blow? We've seen relationships fail and succeed in the past, but we've also seen love and strength blossom. Only time will tell if these three can find a balance. The next chapter may bring everything from healing and reconciliation to even more unexpected turns. This narrative is just beginning, but we would like to hear your thoughts on which side you think Mindy truly deserves forgiveness, whether Yandy can ever trust him again, and whether Erica was right to come out with the truth. Since we know you have thoughts on this odd circumstance, please share them in the comments box below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you never miss an update on all the newest reality TV dramas, controversies, and secrets are coming your way soon. Fans were startled by his mother's decision to go public, which said volumes and was the closest thing to total evidence that the child was actually his, and then the tale changed once more. The rumor had grown into a serious public relationship breakdown with legal repercussions, shattering trust and reputations. Everywhere men's formerly calm and well-liked image had been diminished to a guy surrounded by silent regret and unanswered questions. As the dust began to settle, the truth had likely been removed from the spotlight forever. But one idea lingered. Above all else, what would happen next? Would Mendeecees ever gain the trust of the public? Would Yandy ever return to the show? Would Erica ever speak again? She decided to raise her child in private, away from the cameras. Nobody knew the answers to the universe that had completely upended her existence, but one thing was for sure. The story was far from doing everything we believed we knew, was reversed from subtle to whispers to the story's breathtaking truth. She has taken surprising turns, and nobody might have anticipated Erica's tears. Men's analyze how Yandy's quiet portrays image of a family in ruins.